Good morning, everyone. My name is Shimin, and today I will be presenting my report on the case study titled Should Vasectomy Be Made Mandatory for Families with Low Income? For this case study, I have chosen to refute this argument, meaning I strongly believe this policy should not be implemented. I will be walking you through the basic concept, types of claims, evidence, and my reason for opposing this proposal. Let us begin with understanding what this argument is about. A vasectomy is a surgical procedure that permanently sterilizes a male, preventing him from fathering children. The proposal in this case study suggests that this procedure should be made compulsory for men who belong to low-income families. On the surface, some may argue this could reduce poverty by limiting the number of children born into poor households. However, this thinking is dangerously flawed. The basic concept here assumes that poverty is caused by having too many children, but in reality, poverty is a systemic issue caused by unemployment, lack of education, unequal distribution of wealth, and poor government policies. Blaming the poor of their own poverty and punishing them through forced sterilization is not only wrong, it is unjust. Now, let us look at the type of claims involved in this argument. The first is a claim of fact. It is a historical fact that non-democratic countries in the world legally enforce sterilization based on income. In fact, forced sterilization programs in the past, such as those practiced in Nazi Germany and certain states in America during the early 20th century, have been universally condemned as crimes against humanity. These are not opinions. These are recorded facts in history. The second is a claim of value. This proposal directly involves three core human values: bodily autonomy, meaning every person has the right to make decisions about their own body. Next, human dignity, meaning no one should be treated as less deserving of right because of their income. And equality, meaning rent should never be determined by how much money a person earns. The third is a claim of policy. Rather than forcing sterilization, governments have a responsibility to create better policies such as access to education, healthcare, family planning awareness, and job creation programs. These are ethical and effective alternatives. Let me now present the evidence that support my refutation. First is historically. Eugenics movement in the 20th century that promoted forced sterilization of marginalized groups were later recognized as gross violation of human rights. The world has already learned this painful lesson. Second, legally. The United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, specifically Article 16, guarantees every individual the right of a family, regardless of their social or economic status. Mandatory vasectomy directly violates this national law. Next, statistically, research consistently show that poverty is rooted in systematic inequality, not family size. Countries with strong education and social support systems have lower poverty rates regardless of birth rate. Last, medically, vasectomy is a largely an irreversible procedure. Forcing this on individuals without consent means imposing a permanent consequence on someone who never agreed to it. This is deeply unethical from a medical standpoint. Now, let me clearly state my reason of refuting this argument. First, poverty is a systemic problem, not a problem of reproduction. Forcing sterilization does not eliminate poverty. It only removes the reproductive rights of the poor while the root cause of poverty remains untouched. Second, this policy is a form of class discrimination. It specifically targets low-income individuals, implying they are less worthy of having children compared to wealthier families. This is a dangerous and discriminatory mindset. Third, the government has no right to control a citizen's body. The moment a government can decide who is allowed to have children based on income, it opens the door to future oppression and abuse of power. Four, there are far better alternatives available. Family planning with education, financial assistance, affordable healthcare, and employment programs. This solution address poverty without violating human rights. Fifth, such a policy could easily become a tool of political oppression used to suppress certain communities or minority groups under the disguise of poverty reduction. In conclusion, mandatory vasectomy for low-income families is unethical, discriminatory, and a violation of our basic human rights. It punishes people for being poor rather than addressing the real cause of poverty. A truly just and progressive society does not strip away the rights of its most vulnerable citizens, it empowers them. As I would like to leave you with this thought, a just society lifts these people up, it does not take away their rights. Thank you for your attention.